And welcome back, everybody. Now, I want to apologize in advance for not having many videos lately, but here is a special treat for you. This is going to be a Let's Play of Corruption of Champions. It's a Flash game made by a furry named Finexo. You can play it in your browser. I'll include a link in the description of the video. And before I get started, I just want to apologize. The fraps desynced really bad, so there's no game audio. I dubbed in some of my own audio, so that's not the game's music. Now, here we go. So, in Corruption Champions, there's 5 major body types. There's lithe, thin, average, thick, and burly. We're going to be taking the thick chassis for a reason. Now, here we go. We've started the game. This is the first level, called the Forest, and in the forest we run into goblins. As you can tell, goblins are kind of whorish looking, and to explain, Corruption Champions is a weird game about sex or something. I don't know. I don't really read the text involved. I just play the game. That thing is a magic orb. If you strike it with your weapon, it will cast a magic spell, which in this case, as you can tell, damages all enemies on the screen. Oh, and I got 2. That was a chest drop items. Later on, they also do different things, but I'll get into that in a second. So yeah, this is the game. Mostly just killing enemies, getting to the end of the level to fight the boss. We're collecting gold. Oh, that's fruit. I'll get into what happened just there in a second, but first, here we go. This is the boss. This is Tamani. She's the Goblin Queen, and she, you probably didn't read the text, but basically she wants to use us as a slave to propagate her ill-begotten race, and so we've got to defeat her. She's probably the easiest boss in the game, barring one other boss, but unfortunately I have some issues with her. I typically don't get hit as often as I did. I blame fraps because I was playing at a slightly slower frame rate than I'm used to. But there we go. We beat Tamani, the Goblin Queen, and every time you beat a boss, you get a bunch of gold, sometimes a healing item, and an upgrade to your current equipment. So we got a shield. Shields increase your innate defense. And you may have seen a couple of times, but when we collect gold, it adds to our score. Once you hit a certain score threshold, your character will level up. Leveling up increases your HP, and I believe it also slightly increases your innate stats, but there's a lot about this game that's hidden underneath the chassis or underneath the hood that you can't really see. Keep in mind that blue sparkle you just saw, and right now we're in the desert. Desert is home to the sort of like the second tutorial area to get you used to it. It's really short, obviously, because we're already on the boss. This is the Minotaur, just a Minotaur. Minotaurs are probably... What's interesting is that in earlier versions of Corruption of Champions, Minotaurs had this ability where I think it was if you failed a stat check, they could instantly take advantage of you and you couldn't do anything about it, and you'd instantly game over. Thankfully, they've changed that, and now they're kind of pushovers. To put one this early on in the game, they're sort of like the mid-game standard enemy, but I think you're supposed to avoid them, but for the most part, I just like to go after them because, I'll admit, still a little bitter. Plus, they're fun fight. They're pretty fair. I did really shitty here, and you'll see later on when I fight another Minotaur, spoilers, that I do a lot better, but in general, and I'll explain what I'm trying to do here, but failing when we get to the next one. But for now, we are just going to finish him off. Bang! Oh, nope. There we go. Alright, he's down for the fucking count. So, we're going to get our second type of reward. Last time we got a shield, which increased our innate defense. Now we're getting a weapon. Yes, we got a hammer that increases our innate damage. Now we're headed to the mountain. Mountain is sort of just more of the same. Trudging through goblins. I think there's a new enemy here. Last mission you saw desert goblins. They're the ones that are slightly bigger, slightly more endowed, I guess you could say. Ooh, new type of magic. Okay. I won't show this off for a bit, but this... Oh, I thought I held on to it later. That's a Meteor Spell. It just does more damage. I believe the tiers of damage for spells go lightning, fire, meteor, polymorph. You'll see polymorph in a second. These red goblins are just called, as far as I know, are just called red goblins. They're sort of like the matriarchs of Goblin Society from what I get out of the text. I don't really read the text much, but that's sort of like the vibe I got. Alright, so this is the third boss of the game, and by far the easiest if you have any inclination of what you're doing. So the first stage, boss flies around, it'll fly up into the air. I've actually never seen it do that. That's just doing its attack animation. It'll fly down, try and hit you, but if you move even the slightest bit, you can avoid it. Then this is the second part. It goes into chicken walk mode. If you get too close, it'll flap away, push you away, you can't hurt it. While it's doing the chicken walk, it'll try and shoot fireballs at you. Here's the thing. To use a good old-fashioned DMC terminology, always be jumping in this game, especially against this boss. Oh, okay. You just saw my character block there. That's something that'll happen by RNG. Every time you get hit, there's a chance your shield will proc. I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what dictates blocks, just like I don't know what dictates what stats increase with the level up, like just now, coincidentally, but that's how the game works. So, this dragon, her name is Kiha, I believe is how you pronounce it. She recently got expanded in the game's content, but we don't really have much interest in the less virtuous aspects of this game, so we're just gonna kill her. We don't even get a fucking worthwhile reward, but whatever. So now we're headed to the lake. This is where the game starts, you know, throwing around its weight. We're gonna be encountering 2 new enemies here, and a fairly tedious boss. This is the first, this is a Gnoll. Gnolls are not very damaging, as you can tell. It only hits for 1 HP of damage, but they're just annoying. They will always be when you don't want them around. They will stun lock you and set up enemies. They're just annoying. That thing was a thief. Oh, that was a mimic, yeah. Wow. This is what I'm kind of getting sick of this, is the game just keeps throwing new stuff at me. Okay, these are Goo Girls. Goo Girls, if you have any introduction to this sort of monster girl genre, they look like humans, but they're made of gel. They need certain things for sustenance, but we're just gonna kill them. You can only kill them when they're in the air, or when they are, or by magic. That was a trap. Some chests have traps. That was that blue sparkle from the beginning of the game that I avoided by leveling up. You get trapped in ice. You have to smash around your keys like an idiot until you get free. But if you're fast, you'll only take 1 HP of damage. These are just some more desert goblins. The game very blatantly reuses enemies, even though they don't really make much sense in this area. Anyway, we're coming up to the lake's boss. We're coming to the lake because we're trying to rescue, I think, the goddess Melthea or something like that, but I'll get more into that in detail in a second. Right now, so yeah, this is the Hydra. She, well, I guess I should say, Zur, because one of the heads is male, and 2 of the heads are female, and it has, well, anyway, I won't get into that because that's outside of the point of this Let's Play. I'm trying to show you a virtuous run. So, oh yeah, that was, this boss will, the 3 heads will try and lunge at you by going off screen, and they'll also try and shoot different types of breath weapons at you. Ice, which will freeze you like a trap. Fire, which just damages you, and poison, which stands on the ground and burns you if you walk over it. This is where the fight got really annoying, because this fucking ice head, anytime I tried to hit it, go off screen, try to hit me, I got sloppy, and I got smashed to this side of the screen like an idiot. This boss actually gave me a lot harder time than I was expecting. Normally this boss isn't this big of a pain in the ass, but I honestly have never seen the boss this passive with its dodge, like it's lunging like that. And I know it looks like a hit, but I think I got fucking robbed there. But anyway, he's dead, thankfully. Well, Zur, Shy, whatever the fuck, is dead. So, oh, we got a little cutscene. This guy is telling us that the goddess has been kidnapped, and we have to continue onward. So we're gonna leave the lake, and the way we leave the lake is through the boat. The boat has a number of unique encounters, which we'll be seeing. First things first, upgrade to our weapon. Not all bosses drop upgrades, which is a little lame, but... Oh, and that thing over there, that magic orb, that is the final type of magic I think we'll see, which is polymorph. I'll be showing polymorph. Fortunately, I'm going to be smashing that orb by accident. I didn't... You'll see in, like, a very short order. Right now, in fact, yeah. So it instantly turns all the enemies on screen into frogs. and it doesn't count for enemies' HP. I think it hits 6 enemies on screen regardless of HP. I just don't think it can kill bosses. So these are skeletons. Skeletons used to be one of the hardest enemies in the game. The first time I ever played, they appear to have been nerfed into oblivion. As you can see, I'm just fucking chewing through these assholes like nobody's business. Alright, here comes the last real common encounter on the boat, which are shark girls. As you can tell, they're... I don't really get that fetish, but apparently it's a thing. So yeah, you hit them, they get back up, they try and pounce at you, you gotta avoid them. Pretty easy enemy to learn the pattern for. And obviously the thick body type here, he's got pretty decent attacks. They don't go down that slowly. In fact, I should probably talk about body types. At least I would, but I already know that. First of all, we're gonna leave the boat, and we're headed to the this is what is this place called? This is Teladir. It's a city in the desert. We're passing through it. We're not gonna stay here because we're not really gonna use any of its services. They're not really beneficial to a virtuous character like us. Instead, we're gonna be fighting enemies, harpies, which are one of the most common and tediously annoying monster girl archetypes. Thankfully, we get rid of most of them. They only go down in one hit, so they're not too bad, but if you're not careful, they'll grab you and do things to you, and we don't want that, so... Look familiar? Yeah, this is a reused area. We got our upgrade, and upgraded gnolls, but they still go down in one hit, so I don't know really how they're much of an upgrade. Those are arc gnolls. So, unfortunately, as you can probably guess who the boss in this area is, but let's make the best of it, shall we? Oh, and there I really almost fucked myself over. I almost broke that orb. Unfortunately, as you're gonna see... Oh, and that's one of the reasons skeletons were a lot more powerful in older versions, is that they were much more trigger-happy with those javelins. And in fact, you won't see in this video, this is a multi-part video series, but there will be another reason why they were so overpowered. We're gonna... Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that if you grab a restorative item, when you're at full HP, you just get 5,000 points, which means you can level up faster. Okay, so this is the Minotaur. But when I fought earlier, I wasn't doing very good, but much like I mentioned with the dragon, Kia, always be jumping. When you jump, you get an invincibility frame, or some attacks can't hit you when you're jumping, or something. Like I said, I don't know all the inner workings of this game, but as long as you can just jump around, get behind him, and just smack him around with your mace, he'll be dead in no time. Fortunately, he is a mid-boss, and this is the end of the video. Sorry. Well, that took me by surprise. Sorry about that. Anyway, this will be continued in part 2.